Hi, I'm Sharon with Cozy Love Herbal Support, loving our organs naturally. I'm going to tell you about my journey of healing my gut naturally, my belly. I had went on a detox and had lost some weight and was feeling really good. I got rid of the inflammation in my body. I had arthritis in my back and in my hip. And then I had some issues going on around in my neck and a tilted pelvis. And so then, as I was working through my journey, I was rear-ended. So then, the neck thing came from the whiplash. So, but I had the tilted pelvis and the sciatic nerve and arthritis in the back and hip. And so my son-in-law, who is the founder of Bowie Holistic Herbs, selling black seed oil, he has a very high stress job, and he smoked, drank, and ate mostly fried foods. So I'm like, and then he seemed to be relatively healthy. So I'm like, what the world? How is this possible? So I asked him about it, and that's what he was telling me about the black seed oil. So I first started the black seed oil, probably would have been about May of last year, April or May of last year, and it tastes really, really bad. So it's like, and I'd already was familiar with aloe, and aloe vera is pretty rough too. So haven't figured out which one is the worst, but they both give you some wonderful benefits. So I just did it sparingly and couldn't get too serious about it. But then once the pain started pretty bad and I could barely walk. So I started taking it a little more, but then there was a challenge. My daughter and sister who was like, let's see who can lose the most weight. So then Bowie Black Seed Oil is good for losing weight because it's an appetite suppressant. So got on that thing. And then as I was working with that, and they were losing weight and I wasn't, I was like, wow, what's going on? Because we were all taking the black seed oil. So then that's when I said, okay, I started doing I left meat alone and no dairy. So I went on my search for natural anti-inflammatories. And that's when I came up with Dr. Sadie. And I was like, okay. So I started researching more because I didn't know if that actually applied to me here in the States. And that's when I came across herbalist Kareem on 4 Cycles of Life. It's a number 4, cycles with an S of life. He has it on YouTube and 4cyclesoflife.com. Awesome, 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 awesome herbalist. And so that's when he was talking about how we needed to change the way we eat to get the best results. So that's how I came up with leaving the meat, leaving the dairy, no more fried food. Well, I didn't do much of fried foods, and I didn't do fast food or processed food. Trying to think, I had an air fryer. That was about as close as I came to fried food, and the only thing that I really did that was fried was French fries. So I'm a French fries and pizza girl. And on that journey, I started losing weight, losing pain. And so it's like, okay, cool. So I kept doing it and doing it. And then it was like, okay. So he said, for those of you who are still eating dirty, which I was, because I wasn't and I was, because I didn't give up the pizza yet. And so then I gave up the pizza and I did really great. But in the process of all of that, I started getting issues with my esophagus and stomach. And eventually I went into the bathroom and there was and my epiglottis, I could see it. I was like, what the world? So I reached out to Herbalist Kareem through his moderator. Oh yes, I'm taking a class, herbal class, holistic herbalism course online with herbalist Kareem and his moderator July July Wellness, and July also has a website, julywellness.com. And awesome, especially for females who are having issues with fibroids and hormone. You want to go to that website, julywellness.com. Yes, get yourself some natural relief. Now back to my gut. So I did the things where he was telling me and eliminating things from my diet to see if it would get better. And so it started making very slight improvements, but not much. So then in July, I was like, I reached out to July. I reached out to July. And so she called me and we talked again and was telling her, what I was going through. And so herbalist Kareem was telling me that the things that I needed to get, and I came home and look what was here, the Serapeptase, and this guy here, some whey protein, some grass-fed whey protein. And that made a big difference because my throat, my epiglottis, the esophagus, my stomach was so inflamed, I could not drink water. And eating was definitely out of the question. So that's when he told me that I needed to cook my food and just cook it until there is nothing in it. So pretty much, so I did that, and then I had to puree it. So I did that for like 15 days. And after the 15 days, oh yeah, and also there was iodine. So after the 15 days, my belly wanted some food. And I was like, oh my word, I got hunger. I have hunger. I had hunger pains. It was so cool because I hadn't had hunger pains in a while. So I fed it the food instead of pureeing it. And that wasn't too bad, but then I went back to trying to eat a salad, and I went right back to where I was. And so it's like, okay, I'm sorry. Prior to that, I went to the doctor, and this is why he sent the stuff, because the doctor told me I had I had GERD. And so I didn't think so. But anywho, so then in talking to herbalist Kareem, and telling him what was going on, and he was like, okay, you have gastritis. So I said, okay, I can work with that. So I started taking these things, and that's when, some of the stuff was going down, the swelling was going down. And just to know that I wanted food. But then after I ate, I still had this weird sensation, but I was able to get the food past the esophagus. And so then I started doing, so then I realized that I had been exposed to mold, which July had asked me one point back in June, had I been exposed to mold, which I didn't know. And so I found out that yes, I had been exposed to mold on several occasions. And I was like, I bet that's what it is. So I started doing research. So how are we going to get rid of this stuff? So you need an antibiotic. Well, I'm not going back to the doctor for an antibiotic. I don't take medicine. And so I made my own. And I made my own with, I'm going to tell you what I added to make and because my stomach was so inflamed, I could not swallow the capsules. It wasn't so inflamed, I'm sorry. The swelling had gone down. But I'm not much of a pill taker, and that's why I don't take medicine. And so I put together this formula with like it was echinacea, golden seal, garlic, oregano, ginger, black seed, dandelion, milk thistle. And then I added some honey to it because it was pretty rough on tasting, but I wasn't going to capsule it because I just did not want that capsule in my belly. So things were getting good, picking up. So with the natural antibiotic and the serapeptase and the whey protein, I was on my way. And then I think I got re-exposed to mold and the burning started again. So I'm like, okay, now what? Now what? So then I said, okay, let's try an antifungus. So I put together an antifungus, and that was like Paul d'Arco and garlic, black seed, turmeric, and I mixed that with some little tiny bit of cayenne and some coconut oil. That tastes really bad, but I drank that, and I drank my tea 3 times a day, and so I'm still having slight issues, especially the crazy part is I can eat food and my stomach asks for food, so I give it food. And then after I give it the food, 20 minutes to a half an hour later, there's this weird feeling going on in my stomach, but I have to belch like crazy and drink a lot of water, and then I'm good again. So I'm on my way to healing, and so I will keep you guys posted. Thank you for listening.